the Soul Hour. I'm Angelica, and this is Maritza Zamora. She is an Oakland native, and I'm super excited to speak with her today because she is all Jack, Jill, woman of trade, because she does everything, y'all. So she has a background since 2018, even prior to that, probably, right?
Yeah.
But since 2018, on her entrepreneurship journey in the professional realm, she's a business advisor. So if you have any issues or concerns about starting your business, managing your business, social media wise, she's your go-to girl. And I want to go ahead and introduce her and tell everyone about your story and your journey, how entrepreneurship started.
So my name is Maritza Zamora. I've been born and raised in Oakland. I basically started this journey way back in 2013. I started working for a background check company, and I started literally as data entry. And it was owned by two guys, and pretty much I feel like they really took me under their wing. When I went in there, I'm not gonna lie, I was this crazy, this ghetto girl where it was like, no, Maritza, stop talking like that. No, Maritza, you're not supposed to be emailing like that.
And that's how you learn.
Yeah, and I would get mad because I'm like, why? Like, this is me. But, you know, slowly I started to learn why. They started bringing me with them to events and, you know, introducing me to other business owners. And slowly, you know, I was like, okay, I kind of want to be like them one day. So one thing led to the other. They made me the manager to the office. Mind you, I was their newest employee. All their employees had already been with them for 10, 15 years. I had only been there for a year and a half. So Scott is who pretty much gave me the opportunity to basically be right under him, and he was the VP. So pretty much at that point, he started teaching me everything that I knew, that I needed to know actually.
So he's seen something in you.
Yeah, and he told me, he's like, I'm getting ready to retire, and like I said, it was a partnership, it was 50-50. He's like, I want you to take my position. So at that point I was like, what, me? So, you know, at that point he told me things are gonna get serious. I know that you don't like me calling you out on certain things, but I need to. So he did. I learned everything, and finally he like retired. I took over. Everything was perfect. So then here comes the second owner. He's like, all right, I'm getting ready to go.
Oh shoot.
But little did I know they were getting ready to sell the company. And so, I mean, he put me in a contract with a new company. They couldn't get rid of me. But he kept telling me, like, Maritza, start your own business. Think of something. What do you like to do? At that point, I'm like, I don't know. So he's the one that suggested, why don't you do notary? Like, just kind of put yourself out there. I started doing that. Through the notary, I pretty much started meeting business owners. And they're like, hey, what else do you do? And I'm like, well, I know how to run a business.
Yeah.
So then through that, I started assisting different business owners. And next thing you know, it's like now I'm helping business startups. You know, I expanded my business through that. And basically here I am.
Yeah.
Since
doing everything.
Yes, it's like people ask me, what do you do? I'm like, I don't know, I do everything. What do you need?
That's true.
Yeah.
And I want people to know too, like, you did start in 2018, but you could even talk about prior to that. When it comes to entrepreneurship, what has been some successes or challenges that you've faced so far in the business?
So I want to say it's always big challenges. A lot of challenges at that. So I feel like you go with this mentality of, I'm going to be my own boss. I'm going to make all this money. I don't have a schedule. I'm going to have support by my family and friends. And the reality is you don't.
Yeah.
It's like you
Facts.
find yourself alone. You find yourself working 7 days a week. You find yourself broke sometimes where it's like, I want to take this trip. And it's like, do you want to take the trip or do you want to pay your bills? So that's where you start to think like, and you start to kind of feel like, okay, maybe this is not for me. Maybe I need to just go find a job. And I need to quit this dream of me being a business owner of whatever I'm dreaming of. And so for me, initially that was a challenging part because I'm not going to lie, like I tell a lot of people at the background check company, I was very lucky. I was making a really, really good salary. On top of that, I was making commission. I was really young, making big money. So it was like, I was used to like, hey, I'm going to Hawaii for a month, and that was okay. And
I'll be
afford
back.
it. Yes. And it's like, I was salary. My check was never short. It was like, it was amazing. So, you know, fast forward to me working on my own, it was like, yeah, those checks, they're gone. You know, like, figure it out. So I feel like that for me was one of the biggest challenges. And then two, it's like expecting, because we go in expecting your family and friends to support you.
Yeah.
And you will have that handful, you know, like I have a lot of my family and close friends that support me through everything. And, you know, they push me, they encourage me. But then you kind of see your circle where you thought like, oh, I have all these friends, I have all this family. Well, guess what? You're alone. It's like, you tell them like, can you just repost this? Yeah, I'll post it. Yeah, 2 weeks later, a month later, they're not reposting your stuff.
Yeah.
And it's like, why? Like, I just want to grow my business.
Yeah.
So then through that, I just kind of learned, like, you know, you just kind of got to run on your own and figure it out. You know, I started networking, meeting new people, and I started expanding my network, and I started to realize that the strangers will be your best business friends, business partners, whatever you want to call them. And successes, I feel like I've had a lot in the sense where in the beginning I was struggling because I had no one to ask questions to. I had no one to pretty much tell me like, this is what you need to do. So it was like me having to try to ask questions, figure it out on my own, and then sometimes investing a lot of money. And it's like, yeah, I shouldn't have done that. That was not smart. So it's like I was learning the hard way, and I feel like now it's like, through all those losses, I've learned so much that I feel like finally I've already reached a point where I feel like every single goal that I set, I'm meeting. It's like I've met a lot of people. I've expanded my business so much that it's like literally I feel like I get business from everywhere. And sometimes I'm like, hey, who referred you? And it's like, oh, this person. And I don't even know who the person is. But that makes me happy because it's like obviously I'm doing something right. I'm succeeding at what I'm doing because people that I don't even know are referring people to me and telling them like she's really good with business, she knows what she's doing, and yeah, pretty much.
So I'm glad you brought up, there was like a few points, there was a lot of information and gems that she just mentioned, and it segues into my next question, and I'll ask it, but I wanted to say like I agree with you in terms of like the family and friends, the challenges that like has brought, like for me being a realtor, also being an entrepreneur, like I've been, you know, I want to say shitted on, but like with, you know, just people not utilizing me as help or as a resource. So it happens, you know, or like not putting you out there or like shouting you out, nothing like that. And I've experienced that, like she's really like giving the grit and the grind of what it really takes in terms of entrepreneurship. Like there are struggles, like in terms of trips, like it's like, okay, like I don't want to say you can't do it, like you can make it happen, you can make anything happen, but I think there's more logic behind it or more realistic expectations of like, okay, I deserve this trip because X, Y, and Z, you know? And so that's where I'm at too, is like, I feel like I don't deserve a trip right now because I need to do X, Y, and Z. And so once that happens, then we're good. And yeah, let's go, you know?
No, I mean, for sure. And I feel like eventually you get to a point like me now, it's like, even when I'm on vacation, I feel like I'm not really on vacation because it's like, I'm working wherever I'm at. I'm like, hey, today I'm working from Mexico. And it's like, it doesn't matter because you're
always on.
Yes, allows me to do that, thankfully. And so I always tell people, like, you will get there. You just gotta work a little hard and don't get discouraged when, like I said, the shortage of money comes, because it will come.
Yeah.
It's like, just keep pushing and just keep looking at your end goal. And
yeah. And I think like what you said too is like you're at a point where the referrals come or people are coming to you, and that is because you've hustled, you know, for a certain point, and now it's just like the consistency or like just repeating that over and over and over. But the question I did want to ask that segues perfectly is, you know, what would you give the next generation advice on entrepreneurship or starting their own business?
First of all, is research. Research, a lot of research, ask questions. Try to find a mentor, someone that is openly wanting to actually help you. Because sometimes you're going to ask people questions or advice. They'll give you a half question, or half answer, I mean, sorry. They'll give you a half answer that it's actually not even going to help you. It's going to discourage you. And it's going to make you not want to go into business because you're like, oh, never mind. Based on that answer, this is not a good idea. So I always tell people, like, find a mentor that you know for a fact is going to, like, give you advice from the heart. Like, not even thinking money-wise. And, you know, like, for me, I feel like when people come to me, sometimes they're asking me questions about, stuff I do. That
Yeah.
technically I can see it as competition, but I don't believe in competition because I feel
That's
like
good.
the minute you see anyone or anything as competition, you're already losing.
Yeah, you're already failing.
Yeah, because the thing is, it's like you're so focused on the next person or feeling intimidated that you're not focused on your own self. So to me, it's like, I don't care who comes and asks me, even a stranger. I've had literally strangers on Instagram ask me like, hey, how is it that you got, to do this and that? And I'll send them a whole paragraph without charging them nothing.
Yeah.
It's just like, boom, this is how I did it. Why? Because I feel like everybody has their own customer base. Everyone will attract their own customers.
Yeah.
And there's room for all of us. So I feel like like I said, research, find a good mentor, and then a big one, don't invest all your money without actually knowing that it's gonna work. Like, start slow, invest little by little, but don't go in. Like I said, I made that mistake that I'll go all in. I'll be like, I'm gonna buy this program because it says it's gonna help, or I'm gonna buy all of these supplies that I don't need, but it's gonna help. I thought everything was gonna help for some reason in the beginning, so I went all in with money. Like I said, thankfully I was in a very good financial position where I was able to do that.
Yeah.
But then once you lose it, it's just like, oh, I can never get this money back.
Yeah.
And honestly, even when you're already experienced, I still do that. Sometimes I'm like, I'm gonna take that small risk. But I would say, like, when you're starting, don't just, kind of wait it off, invest little by little, and, as you're growing, you're like, okay, it's a smart move, let me do it again.
Yeah.
So I feel like those are the three main ones. It's like, don't go all in the beginning, get a good mentor, and do a lot of research.
Yeah. No, and that's really good advice. I find myself, like what you said, like paying for, but you pay for knowledge. So it's like, that's what you do get out of it. But at the same time, it's like, you don't want to grow broke doing it. So yeah, no, I totally understand that too. And I think that's like really good advice for people who are looking to be in your position, in your shoes, like, for notary or for helping businesses. Like if someone's really good at organization and has operations, like all of that, you could definitely start your own business. So for someone who wants to start their own business or on the verge of it, like what were your first steps when you got out into the entrepreneur world?
Honestly, I just kind of started thinking to myself, like, what do I want to do?
Yeah.
What makes me happy? And like being in the background check industry, for me, it was investigations. So pretty much it was like, I loved it. I had no problem waking up, going to work. Like I was always happy.
Yeah.
So once I left there, I went on to do investigations for workers' comp, and I was miserable. Like I hated it. It's like I would go and interview people that I already knew were in trouble. Like I'm here because you're in trouble.
Yeah.
So I hated that. It was like, oh, this person's gonna go to jail, and I know it. And it's like, so it was like, I feel like that was not me. So at that point, I'm like, all right, that's when I decided, like, I have to start my own business. Like, this is horrible. I hate it. And then I would look around for job postings, and I'm like, I hate everything. Like, I don't want to do nothing. So I would say, think of something that is gonna make you happy. It's gonna keep you motivated. You're gonna want to wake up and do it. Basically, not something where you're like, oh, okay, I'm gonna do it because it gives me money. Because at the end of the day, no matter how much you get paid, if you're not happy, you're gonna end up hating it, and you're gonna end up quitting anyways, and the lack of motivation more than anything is gonna kill you.
Or be miserable.
Yes, all of that.
You only have one life to live.
Yes.
And you don't want to be miserable living it.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I feel like, I would say find something you like, connect with people that, even try to find someone in a different state that's doing something you're interested in. That way they don't see you as competition. Ask them questions, see what their experience was like. And, just kind of try to figure out, like, okay, is this a good fit? Sometimes I even tell people, volunteer, doing something you see yourself doing. Try it out.
See what happens.
For a month. And if you like it, go for it. But if not, this is your cue. Like, don't even invest in it. You just keep looking,
Yeah.
So, and then another thing is also people think that if you're wanting to go into business because of the freedom, people need to realize there's no freedom in this. It's like you're working 7 days a week. There's no days off. There's no time off. It's like, especially when you're making your own money, if you don't answer that phone, it's like, okay, I might be missing on some money.
True.
So it's like, for me, it's like it could be Sunday, it could be Monday. I could be sick. I could be on vacation. I'm always going to answer. Why? Because I want to keep that money flowing. And then 2, I'm also very like customer service type of person, and I truly believe that if they have a bad experience with you, it's like they're not going to refer people to you, they're not going to come to you, and if someone referred them, they're going to tell them like, I called her, she didn't answer, and that already.
Bye.
Yeah, so I'm like, and I'm the type of person that I'm like, I'm gonna keep everybody happy, especially if you're paying me.
Yeah.
So, you know, I feel like I'm a true believer of customer service, so you need to, especially in this industry. It's like you
For
can't
sure.
be
Because
like,
you're working for yourself.
yes, and and I feel like now I always tell people like, when you're in business for yourself, your customers is who you work for. You need to keep them happy. And even like, you know, like I said, you know, when I was a manager at the background check company, I feel like you also have to keep your employees happy, because if they're not happy, they're not gonna, you know, it's a two-way street.
Yeah.
So
There's a flow
Yes.
of energy that I believe in when you're in your own business, and then also working with multiple people at a time, partnerships. Like there's a lot of moving parts, and so
Yes.
you have to really wear many different hats when you are an entrepreneur. And people don't see that; they just see the face, they see the images that they see on social media.
Yes.
So there's a lot, and I think that you answered that question like great. And I feel like with like logistics wise, like is there anything that you could support the answer that you just said to, like logistics or just operations or organization?
Yeah, so basically it's like, let's say you already know what business you want to go into.
Yeah.
Look into if you need to invest. If you do, then figure out, do you have the money? And if not, how are you going to get that money? A lot of people don't know that there's a lot of nonprofits that help, you know, business owners,
That's
business
true.
startups, where you get free money. You get free money, you get free advice. I can tell you that in the beginning, I got a lot of free advice. I would go to different cities, make different appointments at different city halls. And there's
That's smart.
a program called SCORE. It's for business owners.
Okay.
And it's all through every single city has it. So,
So it's called SCORE?
Yes,
So
SCORE.
SCORE.
yeah.
Look that up online.
Yes. And so pretty much you schedule an appointment with them, and they'll kind of serve you as a business mentor, but they'll also kind of guide you if you need money, where you
Got
can
it.
get free money from.
That's nice.
Yeah. And so I would say that's really important, because in reality, when you start a business, you need money. Because whether you're getting a license, or you need to invest in some sort of program, or whatever it is, you're always going to need money. So if you don't have it, you need to figure out how are you going to get it. You know, who are your resources going to be? Once that's done, you need to think, am I going to do this on my own? Is it going to be a partnership? I always tell people, when you start by yourself.
Got it.
If it all fails, you fail by yourself, and you don't have to feel like I owe someone something, or angry at the other
Yes.
person because, oh, you should have worked a little harder, or, you know. So I always tell people, start it on your own. You know, kind of test it out. And if you feel like you need a partner, and a partner is a good idea, go for it.
Yeah.
But I'm a true believer of just jump on it on your own. You
Got
don't
it.
need the extra people. And pretty much after that, it's just, you know, obviously creating a plan, like a business plan. You know, some people are like, what do you need a business plan for? I have one, and sometimes when I'm feeling lost, I open that business plan up, and I'm like, all right, this is where I'm at. This is what I need to
That's
do.
a good idea.
And, you know, you start writing your goals down. And I like to write it, because I feel like if I think about it or I put it on my phone, it's not the same as it's on
Right.
paper.
Yeah. I agree.
So
I'm that
pretty
way,
much,
too.
it's like, write out your goals, put it as a task list. Pretty much, what is it that's gonna get you there? And like I said, more than anything, start, you know, tapping into people. See who's your customer base gonna be. How are you gonna
Got
get to
it.
them? Whether it's marketing, door knocking, I don't know, social
Everything.
media. Like, just go out there, do it. So I mean, I feel like that's, in the beginning, that's the main thing, because in reality, I feel like when you're barely starting, there's not much to it, because there's nothing there.
Yeah.
You're basically working
That's
on
true.
building. So.
Got it. Well, thank you for that. That was like a lot of information, and it was great resources too. So what I took away from that too, you mentioned earlier, one was SCORE, but also the mentorship. So you had a push with the background check company to kind of build that confidence and that self-esteem
Yes.
to really get to where you're at kind of now, right?
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, because I still call them my bosses, basically.
Yeah.
Their name is Steven and Scott.
Uh-huh.
Till today, like, literally, I'll still text them, like, hey, guys. And they're like, yes, Maritza. I'm like,
Yeah.
I have a question.
Yeah.
You know, whatever it is when it comes to business, I always ask them, because they
Yeah.
were successfully in business for many years.
Yeah.
You know, and I see where they started, where they went, and I'm like, that's where I want to be. So it's like, I always ask them a million questions. whatever it is, they're my go-to people. I feel like they are my mentors, and I feel like it's really important to have a mentor like that.
Yeah.
So like right now, I do serve as a mentor for, you know, like the people that I am helping with their businesses. And, you know, sometimes, I'm not going to lie, they'll ask me something that I don't even know. Because, let's be honest, you know, like...
You don't have all the questions answered.
No. And so what I do is, like, I do have, you know, like, friends and contacts and, you know, business relationships with attorneys, with human resources, with my old bosses, too, where it's, like, depending on the question, I'm like, this is what I need to ask. And I always tell them, like, I don't have the answer, I'll be right back.
Yeah.
So usually it's like, if you're going to get a mentor that you know has the connections in case they can't answer that question.
Yeah.
They have someone they could ask that question to, and it's not going to cost you extra, and they're not going to leave you up in the air with the question, because then it's like, then what do you need that business mentor for if they're not?
That's true.
So.
Yeah. No, that's very true. And this ties into that too, is, you know, at times where you needed not just the mentorship backing you up, but was there any motivational books or podcasts that you could recommend people to uplift them or anything like that?
No, I would love to say, and I'm not even gonna lie, I was like, I'm gonna tell them that this is what I read or this is the podcast I heard.
That's okay.
But I didn't.
What about a person?
Well, I was gonna say, the thing
quote?
is, for me, well, quote, and I don't know if you guys have noticed, I post everywhere, the world is yours.
I like that.
And so I feel like the world is yours, you know.
That's
but
true.
in order for it to work, you have to basically take it up on yourself that this is my world. Everything's gonna work the way I want it to. So because of that, I feel like I've never had time to read a book. Or, you know, I do listen to podcasts, but it's never like, oh, I'm listening to this full-on podcast that I listen to every day or every time a new episode comes up. Because usually if I wake up in a bad mood for whatever reason, I'll just look up like a podcast for whatever I'm going through at the moment. I'll listen to it, and that's it. Sometimes I don't even know the name of the podcast, to be quite honest.
Yes.
As far as books, it's like I always tell myself I'm going to start reading. I'll buy all these books, and then I don't read them. Why? Because I feel like the minute I wake up, I'm already on my phone working. You know, I'm in bed, I'm on my laptop working. I go into the office, I'm working. Everywhere I'm working. So it's like, even when I do want to read, it's like I don't have time to read, I'm working. So, and I feel like it's because of that. It's like I'm so like determined to reach certain goals, where there's one big goal that I wrote down. It almost seemed impossible for me to accomplish. And pretty much that was, I want to say, 3 years ago, when I decided to leave the background check.
Shoot, the ladybug. I need all that luck.
So when I basically left the background check company, I had set this goal. But I also told myself, like, it's kind of an unrealistic goal. You know, whatever.
You were keeping that negativity in your mind, girl.
Yes, and not only that, in the beginning, I was very vocal about it. Like, this is what I want to do. This is my goal, and I'm going to do it. And I don't care what I have to do. And guess what? Every time I would do something towards that goal, it was like, shut down. Closing the door. It's like, nope, you can't do it. And it's like, oh, why? So finally, I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to say anything. I'm going to let things flow. I'm going to let things be. I'm going to still keep working towards that goal. And I did. Fast forward 3 years later, and literally it's like, everything's been flowing, and I finally got that answer that I was waiting for. And it's really, really hard to basically get what I just got. I'm going to announce it later. I'm still waiting for one little thing. But basically, I feel like set goals, no matter how unrealistic they may seem, and how hard you have to work. And like I said, for me, it was that. Like, I wanted times to where it's like, I just want to sit on the floor and read a book. Because in my old office at the background check company, I did have that. I had a little reading corner, and I would read. But it was never about business. It was about random stuff or whatever. You know, but like I said, after that, it was like I had set that such a huge goal that it was like I'm running after this goal, and it's like I have no time to sleep. I have no time to read, because it's like I'm working, and on the little downtime that I have, it's like I'm studying for this test. I'm basically working towards, you know, getting approved by the state. I'm working on getting all these approvals, and it's like, oh, this is impossible. And you know, and I feel like finally I could breathe. It's like I'm waiting for one last little thing, and like I said, once I do get that last little thing, I'm gonna make a big announcement, because it was really hard to basically get that.
So. Shoot. Okay, you're gonna have to tell me offline.
We'll do a part two.
Yeah. Okay, well, thank you for sharing that. So, in terms of influence, though, has there been any influential person or people that have
My parents.
motivate? Okay, so your parents. Okay.
Yeah, I feel like my parents, I see, obviously they came from Mexico. My dad had already been here way before my mom. My dad got here at a really young age, and he tells me all these horrible stories. I could say my dad grew up in Oakland, and it's like he was always working, and even until today, it's like he works in the Port of Oakland, works 7 days a week, literally 7 days a week, and I'm like, Daddy, you're old, you need a break. And he just laughs and he's like, yeah, I'm making this money because I love to buy all these things, and it's a joke between me and my dad, where it's like, you like expensive things, right? I'm like, yeah, and it's your fault.
Yeah.
But like I feel like my parents motivated me to be where it's like, wow, they came with literally nothing. They had nothing, and I see everything my parents have built, and I'm like, if they can do it, why can't I?
Yeah.
And
that's
then
true.
both my parents, it's like have always taught me that no matter what job it is, no matter what you're working towards or for, or who you're working for, give it your best, because you never know where it's gonna take you.
True.
And it's like I said, it's like I see my mom, I see my dad, I see how hard they work and everything they built. Literally coming here illegally, it's like wow, they have so much here, they have so much in Mexico, and I'm like, well, that's nice. It's like they could literally retire if they wanted to, but they choose to keep working. So I kind of, and I thank them, because I feel like they gave me a really good childhood. Shit.
They gave you a good foundation.
Yeah, and not
or
only that,
an
it's like,
example.
even at my age, I'm like, I turn around, I'm like, Dad, can I get this? And he'll just laugh, I'm like, yeah, or whatever.
Yeah.
So I feel like, even now, it's like, I'm still super spoiled, and I thank them, but I feel like I want to give back to them by basically showing them that their hard work, everything they've
Has
given
paid off.
me, it's like paid off. Because sometimes
Yeah.
when I'm like, I don't want to do this anymore, I give up.
Yeah.
But then I'm like, my parents are watching, and they worked harder than me, because, like I said, they came here with nothing. And I'm like, and I want to give up, and I'm literally sitting on this gold platter, like,
Yeah. But at the same time, though, I feel like as a generation, but also as a collective in the Latin community, we have this idea in our head that like we have to work so hard to be approved, or like get some type of satisfaction that we're seen, but at the same time, it's like your parents have worked so hard, but the purpose of was that to give you a better life.
For
So
sure.
they've already accomplished that,
Oh, for sure.
So I appreciate you telling me, about your parents and how they've made an influential impact on your life, because that's important. But I do want to also highlight you again, to go back to you, and that is, do you have any events or pop-ups that you want people to know about or to network with you?
Yeah, so basically tomorrow, I'm making a big announcement. I did get an office out of San Leandro.
Yeah.
And so there, my goal is that once a month we will be hosting different events. It'll
Okay.
be, just fun events to network. We'll have other events where we'll be basically learning from each other as business owners. Like, what do you know how to do that I don't know how to do? Can you teach me? I'll teach
Yeah.
you something you want to learn. We're also going to be, hosting real estate events where,
Got it.
realtors like you could come out and pretty
Okay.
much, talk about, whatever you want to talk about, and information to put out to the community, because I feel like sometimes we need to also teach the community, because that's just important to keep us business owners growing and going.
Yeah.
Because if the community's not growing, we're not growing.
That's
So
true.
my goal is that in that office, we will be hosting, like I said, the goal is at least one event a month, and it will all be for networking purposes and educational purposes.
Okay.
So I'll keep you guys updated on that.
So share your IG handle.
It's Maritza __ Zamora. So just literally my name and just 2 underscores in between.
Okay. So thank you so much. I appreciate you for taking your time and doing this interview with us. And I appreciate everybody listening. Peace, y'all.